Alright guys, so this is just a quick tutorial video. It's just under 10 minutes, and somebody was asking me the other day of how I do layers in Photoshop for my Fortnite thumbnails, and like how all these other guys are getting these popping thumbnails for their Fortnite games or Warzone or whatever game that they're deciding to use. So I threw this little tutorial together, and it will pretty much give you the basics, and you can go the rest of the way by searching online or even using Adobe Photoshop's built-in learning system. So right here in the beginning, I've got you hit new file. YouTube thumbnails have to be 1280 by 720. Now I choose to do my resolution at 128 pixels per inch. Transparent background to start with. I just leave the color profile as it is and then square pixels, and then I do create. Now what I like to do is the very base layer that the program starts you with, I like to leave that there and not put anything in it at all. And then I like to go up top and do new layer and just set it up as the next layer there, and then you'll have a second transparent layer. Now what I didn't have all my stuff opened here, so there's a little bit of a gap, but essentially you'll be copying over your file. I pulled the wrong file over like a idiot. I do that sometimes, so I had to X that out, and I had to go pull the file over that I wanted to use for this test video. And so basically all you're doing is creating new layers for each one of your sections, and you'll drag and drop whatever image it is that you're wanting to put into that layer. Now it doesn't matter what size it is. If it's too big, too large, you can transform it down to what you need. But it is better if it's too large and it won't fit in the box that you want. You'll have to use another program to shrink it down, because Photoshop doesn't really let you free transform, or if it does, I'm not advanced enough to know how to do that. So you've got your base layer here now with your image in it, and you want to pull your text. Now when you put text in there, it will automatically make a new layer that sits over the top of it. The Fortnite, or in particular the Fortnite font, is called Burbank Big Condensed. Now I like to add a little bit of a curvature to mine, so you can do a warp text, and here I do arc, and of course that's a ginormous arc. I just like to put a little bit of a bend in it, approximately 10%, and then I just increase the size of the font. Now you can choose what size of font you actually want. As you can see here, I'm messing around with it, and I usually end up somewhere in the 200 range or a little bit more. And then I go back to the warping text, and I put a little bit of an arc on it. I bring it down to 10%, and that way it's not surrounded. But I mean, you might like it at 50%. Hell, you can have it at whatever percentage you want. You can also go back the other direction and negatively bend it or whatnot, but I like to just leave it there. So now we've got this layer with the text, and you'll make sure to bring it out in size. You can do it this way by dragging it or whatever and making it larger, and then once you get to the point of where you like it, you'll hit your check mark, and then you'll drag it around and make sure it's nice and centered on the image. And then we'll end up going over somewhere here, because I don't remember what the hell I was doing at this point, but we'll go over here, and now we've got that. Now I like to have some blending options on this. I messed around with it. I like to put a little bit of a bevel on it, and what you can see here is all those settings there. Inner bevel, smooth 251%, direction up, size 10 pixels, soften 4 pixel, and all the angle stuff. I use that. You can mess around with it and see what you like the most. You also need to put a stroke around the outside of it, or the inside of letters, so that it has a nice thing. I just do that in black. I add an inner shadow, which adds a dimension to that bevel. It just puts a little bit of it is black, but it shows up as a grayish. I do it as a darken, and I also do an inner glow. Now you can do a gradient image or color if you want. I don't. In this case, I just do red. I hit my OK, and so the inner glow, once you get your actual red, you'll do the size. And so if you size it out a little bit more, as you can see here, that adds like a white outline. It can be any color that you want it to be. But the same effect will happen, or it'll bring a little bit of that white back out in there. And then you add your outer glow. It can be whatever color you want it to be. And that's what gets your letters to pop, like you see on all of these thumbnails out there for the gamers. You can use these settings. Like I said, you can mess around with it and you can decide what you want, but once you figure it out, you hit your OK, and then we end up moving on to the next step. You'll go up to the layer where I'm clicking here. You'll go down, and there's two options here. There's merge visible and there's flatten image. You want to merge visible because you're not done yet, and you want to make sure that this continues to keep that very bottom transparent layer underneath everything. You'll set up a new layer, and this is where you can drag your characters in from the game that you like to use. So like in chapter 3 season 3, we've got the new snap guy, so I'm going to be using him all season, or primarily. And you can get these different poses, the emotes, out of the game. You can capture it, you can print screen it, you can put it down into Paint 3D to get your transparency, and do the magic select where it just selects the character just to pull it out. And then that's how you get it over here as a transparency. And you just do this for each layer. You just drag the characters in, it creates a new layer, you put them where you want them to be, you resize them, and then you move on to the next layer. You can either hit check mark, or you can just select out to the side and it will automatically save the layer as it is. I usually hit the check mark just to make sure that it's confirmed. Then I do another new layer, and this is how you get 3, 4, 5, 10 characters. However, whatever you want to have over that image is how you will do it. Now, if you want the Fortnite on top, you would make sure that image was on top of all these layers, and that your layers go downward, and then the characters would be behind it. But nobody does that. Usually it is in front of your text. And then there's some things that you can do here, like I just add a stroke, but you can see, like on that center character, when you do a bevel to it, it adds like a different dimension or shape to the character. So that's something neat to fool around with if you want to. But I just put a stroke on it, and then I put an outer glow on it so that it has that nice crisp like outline. And then I just do that for all of them. I was messing around here. I was like, nope, I didn't want that. But you can also change the color of it with the inner glow, etc., etc. You can mess around and see what you like the best. But this is all I do for my characters, is I add the stroke and I add the outer glow, and then I go about and I do okay for this. It doesn't take very long. I mean, this is literally making a nice catchy thumbnail in less than 10 minutes if you've got Photoshop. It's just a quick way to do it. There's a lot of other things that you could definitely do, but I don't, because I'm only doing what I need to do. Now again, you'll merge visible because you've got your Fortnite stuff in the back. Now you're going to have, whatever you're titling that stream in particular, or whatever you want to title your thumbnail. This is what goes over the top of everything. Now I typically end up around the 70 to 80 pixel point for the text, so that it makes a nice, it just makes it nice. Sometimes I'll resize it up there by just overlaying it. I did it here, I messed up, I forgot. You've got to, make sure the text is selected when you do it. But you can just drag it, or you can type in what pixel point you want. I just go until I think that it looks correct with the way the image is, to where it just kind of blends. And then with this, I add the same thing pretty much, except I don't add the inner for most of my stuff. I do on some of them, it just depends, but I add that bevel, I add the inner shadow, I add the stroke, I add the outer glow, and you can do a lot of different things here. You can do the inner glow, you can do a color overlay, you can do a gradient overlay, you can add a pattern to it so you can make the text look like it has a texture to it. There's a lot of different things that you can do with the text. I just like to keep mine like this because I'm not spending extra time on it. But once you have all that done, you'll go up to your layer tab again, and this is where you will flatten the image. Once you flatten the image, now you notice we started this in RGB and 16-bit. You have to change it up there to 8 bits per channel, because if you don't, the image will be too large. And once you change it to 8 bits per channel, you save as, and Of course, this is being a dingbat here, but this is where you can save it as a PNG. You want to save it as a PNG because that's what you're going to use for your thumbnail. And then once you do that, you've just saved it to your computer. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching the tutorial. I hope that it helped you be able to form thumbnails really quickly. And don't forget to subscribe and like because it helps the YouTube algorithm, and I greatly appreciate it.